everybody, welcome to the channel. I always appreciate the time that you and I get to spend together, so thanks for tuning in. And I hope wherever you are, that you're happy, healthy, and staying safe. On today's video, I'm going to be giving you my first impressions of the new Asics Gel-Nimbus 25. Now, before I get into it too far, I do want to get a disclosure out of the way. I did purchase these with my own money, so you're getting an absolutely unbiased opinion. I bought mine from Roadrunner Sports. They retail for $160 US. They're a neutral road shoe that I ordered true to size, and for a US men's size 9, which is what I wear, they came in at 10.5 ounces on my scales, or 298 grams. Okay, so if you're a fan of last year's version of the shoe, so the Gel-Nimbus 24, you may or may not like the changes that they made, because the 25 is nothing like this. I think the only thing that seems to be the same to me is the stretchy tongue. Other than that, they revamped the entire shoe. The upper's different, the midsole's different, the outsole is different, even what they did with the gel, that's all changed. So let's start. We'll talk about the midsole first. Now, this video is not intended to be a full comparison between last year's version and this year's version of the shoe, but there are some stark differences that are worth mentioning now in this video. So I'm going to start with the Gel-Nimbus 24, and you can see there is just a ton of technology going on here. Lots of different component parts. They've got their Flight Foam Blast Plus midsole foam here at the bottom. They have a gel in the heel. They've got gel up in the forefoot that you can't see, like you can see in the heel. And if I turn it over, here on the medial side of the shoe, this dark spot, that gives you a peek into a trussic system that's embedded within the foam. It helps give you some stability here. Now, that's pretty much all gone. Now, they replaced it with Flight Foam Blast Plus Eco midsole foam, and the eco simply means that they're using some recycled material to build the foam for us. There's no gel up in the forefoot any longer. They have pure gel back in the heel, and there's no trussic system, but honestly, you don't need it. When I do this kind of a twist test, I think this is a little bit more sturdy than what I was just doing with the Gel-Nimbus 24, so it's not a loose goose type of a shoe at all. Now, they also gave you a lot more of that Flight Foam Blast Eco Plus material. There's 20% more foam. These are the tallest stack height shoes that I own now. There's 41.5 millimeters in the heel and 33.5 up in the forefoot for an 8 millimeter offset from the heel to the toe. And if you look at it, you would think that these are like running on clouds. They are a max cushion shoe, that's for sure, but are they cloud-like? They're not. They feel a bit more stiff than that. They're nowhere near a shoe like the Invincible Run. They're a little bit closer to something like the New Balance More V series, like the More V3 and so on, or the V4, or even the Bondi. Although the Bondi, I think, would be down here. They're a bit more stiff of a ride. So these are still considered, in my opinion, to be a max cushion shoe. Lots and lots of comfort, but if you're expecting the most cushioned run experience that's out there, these are probably not the right shoe for you. You're probably going to want to look to one of those other shoes that I just mentioned, the Invincible Run, for example, or the More series of shoes. I do find that those are a little bit softer to run in. Doesn't mean that these aren't soft. They are. They're just not the softest shoe that's out there. And I think that's a little bit deceiving. When you hear the stack height measurements and you look at the stack height, they just look like they're going to be a cloud experience. And they're not a super fast shoe. For me, these fall solidly in that recovery run or in that easy run category. Don't expect to pick up the pace in these. Like I mentioned, they weigh 10.5 ounces. And that can be fine sometimes with a daily trainer, because a lot of times daily trainers run faster than their weight might indicate. These do not. These run about as heavy as they are. There's no real aggressive rocker to help move you through your gait cycle. I don't get a lot of pop off the toe. They're just a comfortable shoe to wear. These are ones, I think these are the great all-arounder. If you're going on vacation and you want a shoe that you can walk in, but you also want to go out for a run when you're on that vacation, these are a good choice. Just take these. You'll be fine. But if you want to do any kind of speed work, something along those lines, these would not be my choice. They just don't have it in them for that kind of a workout. Now, would I take these on a long run? Sure. but just know that your legs might get a little bit more tired than they would if you were in maybe a lighter shoe that gives you a little bit more back as you move through your gait cycle. All right, so let's talk about the upper. The upper is a knit upper. It does run a little bit warm, but for me, that's a plus right now because even though we have a little bit of unseasonably warm weather here in Michigan, it's February, it's still cold. It was, I think, 28 degrees last time I checked outside. So a nice, soft feeling, warmer knit upper for me. That works pretty well. And they are comfortable. There's some stretch to it, so it gives you a bit of a form fit. But I didn't feel like my toes were scrunched up in the toe box at all. I felt like I had plenty of room to be able to splay my toes. And, you know, I didn't have any heel slippage. My heel set back in that heel counter really well. But let's talk about the eyelet chain first before we get too far back into the back of the shoe. Now, this is an area that did change. Has kind of this looped system here. I got locked in pretty secure in there, and it's really comfortable. I didn't have any issues with that at all. The tongue, this is about the only part that they kept, as I mentioned. It is a stretchy tongue here. I don't know. At first I loved it in the 24, and then I got toward, when I had put, 100 miles, 150 miles in those shoes. After a while, I got kind of tired of that stretchy tongue. It just feels like when I go to put it on, it's kind of a pain. I don't know. It's a little bit harder to get your shoe in. They do have this nice heel tab here to help get your shoes on, so that does help. But when you grab a hold of this tongue, that's one of the things about the 24 that I learned not to like, I guess, is that when you go to put it on and you grab a hold of that tongue, of course you're putting a little bit of force to slide your foot into the shoe, and this tongue just has a lot of stretch, it seems like. So it wasn't the easiest thing to do. So adding this was genius on their part, I think. So it makes it a whole lot easier, but you still get a lot of stretch there. It is a gusseted tongue, fully gusseted tongue, so it's not moving anywhere. I like that. I like that a lot. So you don't have to worry about it migrating around. And, it's not really a thick tongue, but you don't feel the laces cutting across the top of your foot at all. So it does a really good job that way, keeping you comfortable. And there's lots of padding up around the heel collar and the counter of the shoe, which goes down quite a ways. I often call this kind of that pillow type of padding because it kind of rests up at the top. But this tapers down nicely towards the footbed, and it creates a really solid heel pocket. Like I said, I didn't have any heel slippage. This is really a really, really comfortable upper. So kudos to Asics for that. I'm going to put it up on my shoulder and kind of give it the pinch test back in the heel counter to see how much structure that they have there. I always like to do that. And this is a lot of structure back here. So, it does add to the stability of the shoe, and it just gives you that nice solid lockdown feeling. So you don't have any kind of heel slippage, side to side, up or down. It feels really comfortable that way. So let's flip them over and take a look at the outsole. Now here they're using their AHAR Plus rubber, which stands for Asics High Abrasion Rubber. Gives it a lot of durability. So you've got plenty there to protect all of that soft Flight Foam Blast Plus Eco midsole foam. And they've got it all the way from the midfoot through to where you toe off, and then they've got it in the heel back, really in some strategically placed areas. So you don't want to have more than what you need, really just enough to be able to cover those areas that are going to likely to see wear first. So I think they did a really good job protecting all of that midsole foam that we just looked at. All right, so overall, they're a pretty pricey shoe, $160 US, but that's what they're getting from Max Cushion Daily Trainers. I think it's a super comfortable shoe to wear. As long as you're not looking for a shoe to be able to pick up the pace necessarily to do any kind of speed work, I think this is a really nice shoe to have in your rotation. Works great for recovery runs or those easy days where you just want to be kind to your feet and to your legs. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Run Tall with Tim.